Have you ever stopped for a break and suddenly felt like all of your momentum vanished? What I learned this week is that rest at the wrong time can be one of the sneakiest forms of self-sabotage. If you're in a season of growth, this is where you want to pay attention. In this video, I'm sharing the cost of slowing down too soon and how to protect everything you're building. Hello lovelies, after I finished my 30-day holy shift, I felt like I needed a break. I worked really hard to stay devoted to myself and my practices, and once those 30 days were up, I felt like I earned a break. So I took one. I paused, I rested, I relaxed, thinking that I was integrating all of that energy that I worked so hard to build in that 30 days, all that momentum that I gained. But after a few days, I realized that I didn't feel very good. Not physically, I wasn't ill, but my energy didn't feel very good. And how often do we do this to ourselves? How often do we gain that momentum just to pause and slip backwards? Like a project that you're working on and you work really, really hard on it. It's not finished yet, but you worked hard on it. It looks good. Maybe it's due in a few days, or you need to complete it in a few days, and you take a break. That break turns into a longer break than expected, and now it's harder to get back to that project than if you would have just kept consistent with it with your action. Or with losing weight, this one is so popular, and I want to give these examples so that you feel less alone, so you can say, oh hey, that's me. And when we're trying to lose weight and we are making good progress, we've lost 10 out of 30 pounds and we feel really proud of ourselves and really accomplished. So we think we deserve or have earned or need a break. So we take a break from all of the practices and all of the things that got us to where we are. And that is such a slippery slope, because maybe you don't go to the gym for a couple days, maybe you slip on your diet for a couple days, and that slip can make you really slip. And then what happens is the next day you wake up and you're bloated from the food that you consumed that was out of the norm from that structured practice, that structured diet that you had in order to lose those 10 pounds. And now you wake up bloated, you feel like you've lost your progress, and all hell breaks loose and you slip all the way back to your original starting point. And that's where people get this start, stop kind of cycle that they get stuck in. So what I noticed for myself, and if you relate to either of those stories or to this story that I'm telling, when you're trying to change anything in your life and you take that pause, I started to notice that my energy was lower. I was not in the same swing of things that I was before, doing the same practices that I had that kept me anchored in that new energy that I was building. I was not doing those things. So my energy had dropped. Now that my energy had dropped, I was waking up later in the day than normal because I didn't feel excited. I didn't feel in purpose. I felt really unaligned, if I'm being completely honest with you. I felt less magnetic, I felt less magic in my life. And so what was the point of waking up early if I had nothing to do and I had no structure? And that's that slippery slope that I'm talking about when you're trying to create change. You need structure of the masculine energy, that action-oriented energy, and you need the feminine energy that comes in that is flowing and free and magical. Together, you can't have one without the other. So this is when I learned something really powerful, that there is a cost to taking your foot off the gas too soon. And that is an unfortunate lesson to learn, but one that I'm really happy that I learned, and one that I'm really happy to be able to share with you. So I'm going to use an analogy of driving a car. You are going on a journey. You're starting at point A and you're going to point B. Point A is your house. When you decide to embark on this journey, you get in your car, you start it, you reverse out the driveway, and you get onto the street. If you only press your gas pedal to get down your block, it is going to take you a very long time to end up at point B. And this is what happens to so many of us on the change journey, is we get excited and we get into our practices, our vehicle, and we start making action. And then when we ease up, we see that the goal that we have, point B, is so far away from us that it feels impossible. And now you're either going to stall or stop when you take your foot off the gas and you coast to a full stop. And you're gonna stay there and you're gonna feel stuck. Or you're gonna feel stuck and you're gonna say, it's a lot closer for me just to go back to point A, comfort zone, my home, and I'm just gonna stay there instead of pushing myself and pushing that gas pedal to get to point B. When you start gaining this momentum, when you push that gas pedal, you are now in a new energy, maybe one that you're not familiar with and not comfortable with. So your nervous system is designed to protect you from anything that is dangerous. And a lot of the times we associate new, even if it's good, with danger because it's unfamiliar. So I was in this new energy, this new frequency, because of these practices that I was anchoring in, because these practices were what I know are building blocks to my future self, to the person that I want to be and the person that I want to become and the person that I already know that I am somewhere, somehow, in some timeline. And when I was getting closer into that frequency, my nervous system said, this feels really unfamiliar. I am not used to this frequency. I don't think this is a good idea if we continue going forward. And so a pattern of self-sabotage came up, which it often does when we are changing things. And this one was so subtle at first that I didn't even know I was doing it. And I didn't even know that this was a form of self-sabotage that I have actually done many times in the past. So doing this challenge, going through it, getting to this level of awareness for the self-sabotage was exactly what I needed to do, unfortunately. But now I can see that pattern. Now I can share that pattern saying, hey, maybe you do this too. And I really want to stress that this is not a video saying that you cannot rest. But when you are trying to change your entire freaking life or change something at all, you're gonna have to learn to rest without hurting what you've built. And for me, resting looked like getting my 8 hours of sleep every single night. Looked like resting after I did my practices, after I did the core pillars of things that really anchored me into the energy that I am building. That was priority. The rest that comes afterwards, sure, that's that feminine flow. Now you can do whatever you want. If you want to continue reading the book that you're reading, go ahead. If you want to take a nap, go ahead. But those things needed to be done first. And if you are in this cycle of start, stop, do not beat yourself up, because seriously, you're so human. We all do this. And this is not a point, this is not a moment to hustle harder, but this is a moment when you do need to protect what you have built. And how I did this is I caught myself in this pattern. Instead of slowing all the way down in my vehicle of change, I caught this pattern and I said, oh, no, we're not gonna do that. And I pushed back on that gas pedal. So now, not only am I doing these core pillars that kept me so anchored in my 30 days, but I am building on top of them. So as a refresher, in this challenge for myself, I was doing 30 minutes of movement. Sorry, ignore the dogs outside. And also, I forgot to mention, if you can hear in my videos the crazy amount of cicadas that are going off, it's because it's rainy season. They're just these cute little bugs that are beautifully colored. But anyways, I was doing 30 minutes of movement because I really need to move my body. I sit a lot of the day. I want to have a better physique. I want to feel better in my body. I want to create forward moving energy, and I know I do that through movement. So not only am I doing that, but I am building on top of that, because 30 minutes a day is literally nothing to move your body. You have 24 hours. If you only move for 30 minutes, that's not a lot. So I am incorporating more cardio throughout my week, not every single day, but as often as I can, as often as it's not raining, as often as I feel I have the energy for it. So that is a structure, but also allowing flow with it, where I get to pick and choose what day I'm doing that cardio and extra movement. I was listening to Abraham Hicks because I want to have a better mindset. I was reading their book, and now I have finished that, and I am moving on to reading other material. Right now I'm really excited and explorative about quantum physics, so I am reading books on that, and that is expanding my mind. And Alexis on YouTube, I'll put her here and also in the description box below, she speaks about this as stretching your rubber band. It's like the rubber band theory. So as you are changing something, you need to stretch your rubber band. Your rubber band is like symbolic of your comfort zone, and you don't want to stretch it so much that it snaps, but you want to be able to stretch it enough that's like a little uncomfortable but not super uncomfortable. So that's what I did in the first 30 days, is I stretched that rubber band just a little bit. And now I'm stretching it even more so that I can hold more, so that I have the capacity to change even more and hold that frequency. Now I've caught myself, okay, this is where I'm self-sabotaging, is when I lay it all down. So instead of laying it all down, we're gonna double up. And that doesn't mean that I'm hustling harder. It's because I know how simple that first round of 30 days was. So now I can add on top of that simply without burning myself out, with having the structure as well as that flow. And I really worked hard on expanding my mind, but now I'm trying to make it a little bit more practical. So I'm doing the quantum physics, and I'm also trying to learn Spanish because it's so important for me to learn, and learning another language is so valuable. So I know that that's going to make me feel more valuable, me be more valuable, and add more value to my life living in a Spanish speaking country. I was scripting my life for those 30 days, writing things out as if they were already mine, and so many things from that have actually come now into fruition, which is super cool to see. And obviously it works. So I'm sticking with that practice, and I'm building onto having a deeper connection to my spirit with meditating throughout my days as well. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-minute meditation or a 30-minute meditation. Meditating is really important to hear the voice of God, to still your mind, to feel peace, and to get into a frequency that you can't when you're so freaking busy. So what I learned is that momentum compounds. So that's exactly why I am building on top of all of my practices, because that momentum that I had in the beginning, we're growing it. We're stretching that rubber band even more now. But hesitation also compounds. So you have to decide in your vehicle of change. Do you want to build on your forward movement, or do you want to build on your stagnancy? Because whichever one you focus on, whichever one you decide, is going to grow. And this is exactly why I built my course, The Holy Shift, because I knew that this was changing my entire freaking life. Everything that I went through in that 30 days really changed me. Not just the practices, but what I was learning about myself along the way, including the self-sabotage. And this happens to all of us. We get excited about something, we start taking action, and then an old pattern pops up and we shrink on back. And I don't want that for you. So in this course, I walk you through exactly why that happens and how to make sure that you stick to your forward movement. I've lived it, I've breathed it, and I created this course to help. So if you're in a season where you're wanting to change, but you have no idea where to start, or you're trying to change and it's not sticking, you're in that stop-start cycle, the link is in the description to support you. We are rewiring everything right now. So stay open, stay anchored, and trust the holy shift that you're creating.